Welcome into this week's episode of Bills Pod Squad. Maddie Glad here with my wonderful co-host, Kim Pagula, also known as the Buffalo Bills owner and team president. We've got a really fun guest on today, somebody who, I feel like somebody who we may not normally have on this podcast. We have a lot of media members, a lot of players, coaches, some celebrities, and he kind of touches the realm of being a celebrity, especially when it comes to TikTok. So if you guys are interested in cooking, interested in steak, or learning about it, this is the podcast that you want to listen to. But Kim, got to ask you first, we're coming off a bye week. We had a nice long weekend. I know your daughter, Jessie, got married and the pictures were absolutely beautiful. She looked stunning in her dress. And I love that all the dogs were at the wedding. But how did the wedding go? How was your long weekend? Are you happy it's over? Sad it's over?
Well, I'm not sure that it was a restful bye week. It was very, very busy, but everything went as planned. It was a beautiful weekend. The weather cooperated, the dogs cooperated, and all the planning, all the work that you put into it, as Maddie, as you will find out, now or in the next few months, a lot of work and a lot of details go into it, but it came off flawlessly, and I couldn't have been happier. You know what? I didn't. People ask me, did you get emotional? Did you cry? Honestly, I did not. And I don't know if it's because it's been a long time coming and, it was delayed a year and they've been together for a long time. They live down the road. So maybe just one of those things. But I thoroughly enjoyed the whole week, enjoyed the wedding. We had other events as well. So I just really enjoyed it. That's the one thing that other people told me as words of advice, and I would echo it back to you, is just enjoy the whole moment, enjoy the planning, enjoy the day. It's something to celebrate, and don't be worried about all the things that might happen or not happen, or worried about this, that. Just enjoy the moment. And I certainly did. So it was great.
That is so wonderful to hear. I'm also in the middle of wedding planning, so I've definitely been asking Kim some questions, trying to get some tips from her, because as you guys know, Kim is always busy and she doesn't sleep that much because she's involved in a lot of things. And to hear how involved you were in the wedding, when I asked you, I was like, Kim, you don't have time for this. What are you talking about? You're making these goodie bags for everybody. You're helping with signage. But I'm sure it was fun to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, no, it really was. And now that it's behind us, and I felt like I haven't, connected with you in a long time. I know it's only been one bye week, but it seems like forever. But excited to get back into reality, into the real world, and getting back into a home game. We haven't had one in so long. So excited to be back at Highmark Stadium with our fans and with the team on another Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, a Halloween home game that hasn't happened since 2004, I believe, when we
played dressing up?
Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if I'm going to dress up. I don't think I will, because it falls on Sunday. It falls on a work day for us. So I think I may go like business as usual. We're not messing around here. We've got a game to win, and I'm not going to mess around with costume. But where do you fall on that?
No, I've never been a costume person. I just never been one. That I know our players had a big party, and I guess there was some really great costumes out there. I'm excited to see what the fans will come up with, because let's face it, some of them have some great costumes throughout the whole year. It's not just on Halloween. So I can only imagine what it's going to look like on Sunday with a lot of our fans going above and beyond for Halloween as they do being a fan.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take time to look into the stands, check out people walking into the game, because I know our fans are going to be really creative when it comes to costumes. So definitely looking forward to that. But let's get into our podcast. We had a great conversation with Jack Mancuso. He has more than 2 million followers on TikTok. He became well known for his cooking when it comes to steak and all types of meats. So you guys are going to want to listen to this one. We've got Jack Mancuso on with us. He is famous on social media and has more than 2 million followers. And you may think, okay, what do I have 2 million followers? What's the draw here? This guy knows all about food, steak, grilling, all types of meats. So we are going to trade secrets. Kim is going to trade some of her cookie secrets, and Jack's going to trade some of his steak secrets on today. So Jack, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Kim, you ready to talk about food?
I'm always ready to talk about food. You know that, Maddie. But first, I want to talk about Jack moving back to Fairport, New York, my hometown, very close and near and dear to me. So I'm really excited about that. And as you can tell, Jack, from your background there, you probably haven't done a lot of moving in yet. I don't even think there's anything on your shelves.
I see a painting kind of on the side.
Yeah, it's pretty empty. The COVID delays, so we don't have a couch yet actually in our family room. So we've been sitting on the ground. But besides that, just, a lot of unpacking. I've only been here 8 days so far. So not fully moved in yet, but I'm super glad to be back in upstate New York.
Well, you have good timing because your skill set really fits in with tailgating, football, fall. I don't know a better time for someone like you to be moving back east with all the things that you can do at a tailgate, and really excited to, as Maddie said, trade secrets with you. But I don't know that they're really secrets. I just want to learn from you because I am a foodie as well. And you are so young to be having that many followers. So you must have some amazing meat, amazing food, and do some amazing things.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to tell you guys all about everything, and most likely we'll be cooking for you guys someday. But
oh my gosh, yes.
A lot of people are calling me crazy for moving back at this time of the year, right before winter. But I was like, I don't know. I think this is the perfect time. This is like early on in football season, and I'm ready to tailgate. This is what I do.
So before we get to the grilling, so how did you become a Bills fan? That's what I'd like to know. I think our listeners would like to know as well. Obviously, you grew up in this area. Was there a memorable game for you that really cemented your fandom?
So I grew up in upstate, Rochester area in Victor, actually. So, everyone around here is always Bills, Bills, Bills. And I went to a bunch of Bills games as a kid growing up. That was pretty much the only pro football games I've been to until I was like 20. So, it was just very natural for me to be a Bills fan being from the area. And my whole family is from the area as well. My father, my grandfather.
What do you think of this year's group, or really the last couple of years? This is the time to have jumped on the bandwagon. At this point, if you're jumping on, you're almost too late. But the last couple of years has been a great time to be a Bills fan and cheer for a team that has had some struggles in years past trying to get to the playoffs, and they've made that a year-to-year thing. And now the talk is making it to the Super Bowl. After last year, they made it to the AFC Championship game. So what do you think of the squad that we've got with Sean McDermott as our head coach?
I think it's unbelievable because, my whole life, the Bills have never been as good as they are right now. So I think right when I was born, they were super good around 95, but they're looking really good. I got a lot of confidence in the team. We're just blowing out team after team, it seems like. So I'm pretty excited about it. Last year, we had a really good run. There's nothing to be disappointed about, but I think we got to go. We got to go for it all this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm excited to see where this team goes and what happens the next couple of weeks. Because, if we remember back to last year, after the bye week, after that Hail Mary loss that is still so hard for a lot of us to think about, they had a bye week and then they won 6 straight games. So I wonder if they're going to do that again this season. But let's start talking about what you do and what you make your living on. It's cooking, and cooking steak is kind of your expertise. I know the Bills coined you the Grillmaster of the Buffalo Bills, and you got a really cool jersey that said Grillmaster on the back, and you actually got to grill some Wagyu steak in Highmark Stadium, which is, check that off the bucket list. But when did you start cooking? When did you realize, oh, I can cook a steak and it tastes good? Like, how did this all come about for you?
So I was living with a house of guys in college, and I don't know, a lot of them weren't too competent when it came to grilling outside and cooking food. So I figured I'll be the one to try to learn how to work a grill really well. So eventually I was cooking up most of our meals for me and my group of friends and the guys we live with. And eventually we graduated and they were like, oh man, I miss your cooking. So I'd send them pictures and videos of what I made. And then I had a couple people, we're in like a group chat. I had a couple people say like, oh, you should start posting, doing this stuff. Cause I followed some pages where people were cooking steaks and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I guess I could give it a shot. Start off like not too serious. I never expected it to blow up like it did. It kind of was a pleasant surprise. I mean, it's just crazy how life works because I just quit my mechanical engineering job, which was a great job, to cook steaks and barbecue on the internet, you know?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Living the dream right now. I can't complain.
So, a lot of, chefs are classically trained. Obviously, you said it sounds like you were a little bit more just, trained yourself by experience. So usually you have to cook a lot of steak. So, I mean, you must have had a lot of friends and you must have been cooking a lot because some of the stuff I see on your TikTok account there looks like you've been cooking for a long time and have been trained to do so. So how did you learn on your own? Was it trial and error or did you at least take one cooking class?
No cooking classes. So
my goodness.
Wow.
I'm not a chef.
There's hope for all of us, is what I'm saying. We can all become TikTok masters when it comes to steak. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. We can all become
continue on.
I'm serious though, we could. But no, I am not a chef. I've had people ask about that all the time because my name was Chef Cuso. Like I said, it started as a joke kind of between me and my friends, but no, that's why you'll see in my bio, it says not a chef because I've never taken any sort of cooking classes or nothing like that at all. I learned how to cook basically by trial and error, practicing new stuff, watching videos on YouTube and figuring out what tasted good and then slowly got better and better at it. I do a lot of experimenting, so I try to have fun with it at the same time.
All right, so since steak is your thing, there's a big controversial conversation around, what's the perfect way to cook a steak? What's the perfect temperature or way to eat it at? I'm a medium rare fan. I don't know if you'd agree with that. I would guess so. Yeah. What do you say to people who like to eat their steaks well done or medium well?
I don't want to disrespect anybody, but the podcast at least. I like to crack jokes in my videos. You'll see. But I think you just need to have an open mind. Maybe eat it with a blindfold on if you're scared of the red on there, because it's a world of difference in flavor, in juice, like the juice content that is actually in the steak when it's cooked medium rare. There's so much more juices and flavor in that steak compared to kind of chewing on like a leather boot. You know what I mean? I would say the best way to cook a steak would be, well, for beginners and for anyone really, it would be a reverse sear where you basically use indirect heat at a lower temp to sear it up. I do this on one of my smokers. I'll have it on indirect heat. I'll bring the steak up to about 125 internal temp. And then I'll take it off, let it sit for like 10 minutes, and then sear it super hot on the grill or a cast iron pan and get that crust at the end as well. Because that crust is where a lot of the flavors are at.
Well, another thing that many people that eat steak and grill debate about is the type of fire you're using. Are you a charcoal, gas, wood fire? Like, the preparation, right? That's what the secret is, the preparation. So it starts with the heat. What do you typically like to grill with?
Well, I'm a big advocate for smokers, like wood pellet smokers. So you're basically grilling with wooden pellets, so it's wood, I guess. And then I also like searing when I'm searing stuff on top of charcoal. I got 8 grills at my house, maybe 9 right now, but only one of them is gas, and that's because it's like a fire pit that you shoot flames up to the music, but you can put a grilling attachment on it. So I try to steer clear of gas grills just to avoid any gas flavor on there, but I'm definitely a charcoal guy. It's more work for searing charcoal, but it's worth the work. I think so.
Yeah, I'm not very patient. And so I've got like this humongous gas fire grill that I just like turn on and basically end up charring it to death. I'm not, I just don't have the patience for that indirect heating, although I know that's the best way to keep your meat tender. But I just don't have any patience, Maddie.
Yeah, I feel like when I try and cook steak, like it'll be good every like fifth time. And then every other time besides that, I'm like, oh, it's so undercooked, or like, dang it, it's already like medium well. So it's been not easy for me to get it perfect in terms of like the right amount of red on your steak.
Yes. So I feel like the one thing that everyone should have is the meat thermometer. The one you can keep in the meat while you're cooking so that you never overcook it. If you have a meat thermometer, I have one that like connects to my phone, so I can watch it on my phone from inside while it's cooking outside. And you can monitor that temp perfectly, because I always tell people to always cook by temp and not time. That's how you're going to end up with that perfect medium rare every single time. And might as well use all the tools at your disposal. So meat thermometer is key.
I like it. What's the favorite thing or favorite meal that you've ever prepared or cooked?
Ooh, that is a good one. I'm a big tomahawk ribeye guy, but just because it's flashy. But I would say probably this recent, I don't know if you saw, but I posted a recent Wagyu surf and turf video where I took some Japanese A5 Wagyu filet mignon and I cooked them up in a skillet. And then I split down 2 lobster tails, cooked them in that Japanese A5 Wagyu fat in the same skillet, and then added herbs and lemon to that. And then made a pasta on the side, very cheesy. And I love my cheese, even though I'm lactose intolerant. You just gotta tolerate it sometimes. Yeah, that's probably surf and turf would be my all-time favorite meal for sure.
Nice. Well, what's for someone my age who's not as, I'm not on TikTok all that much, although I do have an account, Maddie, where I look, so I can just kind of, check in, but nobody knows that it's me type of thing. And I've never posted a TikTok video. So how do you go from being an engineer to making a living cooking steak and showing videos to everyone? That's the part I don't get about social media, Maddie. Like how you make a life and a career out of that. It's great.
Crazy.
I think it's great. But so, I mean, what's your day like now that you're a TikTok Grillmaster? I don't know what to call you.
Yeah, I don't even know what to call myself anymore. But I started in the beginning of COVID, that's when I really started posting a lot. And then I first saw some of those videos going viral because I was like one of the first people to start voicing over their videos, and I try to make it pretty funny and entertaining so that people are like, okay, this is not just your average cooking show. It's actually like funny, so it keeps you wanting to come back. And one of my first viral videos ever was upstate New York food, pizza logs. It got like 3 million views, and then once I hit that, I was like, okay. It's a crazy feeling when something blows up like that. You're like, okay, you kind of get hooked. And then I started cranking out videos, and it slowly, well, not so slowly. It grew pretty fast. It was a hobby. It was just a hobby while I was working. And then eventually, like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, all right, I need to all my day job quits, because this is basically 2 full-time jobs now, and it's a little overwhelming. So I'm going to do the one that I love doing.
Well,
so go ahead, Kim.
Oh, no, we have a game this weekend. So kind of walk us through what your tailgate pregame, day looks like.
So believe it or not, I haven't been to a Bills game because I've been gone in the past 8 years. So I'm very excited, but I'm new to this.
Oh, wow.
Kim, maybe you should give him some tips. He needs some tips from you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I can bring the dessert. I don't know that I can help him with the grilling part, so I'll just bring the dessert.
Yeah, we can trade. That sounds like a deal. But no, I think I'm showing up because I got to leave here around 7, and then showing up. I'm doing cooking at the Jim Kelly's tailgate by the field house, I believe, and then there hanging out. And then going to the game, which I'm very excited about because, like I said, it's the first Bills game I've been to in person in the past 8 years. So I can't wait.
That's a lot of pressure cooking for Jim Kelly.
Yeah. And you just said it so nonchalantly. I'm cooking at Jim Kelly's tailgate. So you know that you've made it when you can say a sentence like that as a Bills fan, like no big deal.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know if I'll be cooking for him personally, but I mean, probably though. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been a while, but yeah, I'm definitely very excited for the game, the tailgate especially. But the overall all of Sunday, I'm very pumped, and it's the Halloween game, so that's pretty fun.
So we're leading up to Sunday, but I want to know what your week looks like now that you've called it quits on your day job and are now turning your cooking into your day job, and what you've really grown such a following for doing. What does it look like for you? I mean, do you sit down on Sundays or on Saturdays and are kind of like, okay, here's what I'm going to make for the week. Here's what I'm going to film for the week. Or here are some recipes that I'm going to test out and see if they work. And if they do, I'll film myself cooking them. Like, what does this all look like for you in terms of planning and how you're executing everything?
Yeah, totally. So right now I'm actually still training my replacement at my old company. So I got till next Wednesday is when I'm fully done with my day job. But normally I have like certain ads I have to post on certain days, like sponsored posts. I wouldn't say ads, but like where I'm incorporating a brand's product into my posts. And so those ones are more scheduled. And then the rest is like free reign. I get to do what I want. I'll maybe see something that comes like looks really cool that I want to make this week. And I write everything out, schedule everything out. I normally try to film in the mornings so that I could get daylight because I'm normally outside grilling. And once it gets dark, all the footage kind of just goes downhill pretty quick. So then I'll bring it inside. But yeah, it's pretty much cooking and then editing and posting and like writing out captions and trying to write out some of the recipe as well. And then, yeah, I started my own like merch brand where we also sell like knives and cutting boards. So doing that's a lot of work as well. Is just trying to figure everything out.
Wow. So, I mean, I think a lot of people may scroll by your videos and think like, this is really cool. And like, I can learn something from this. But what I'm hearing is like, it probably takes a lot longer to film something and cook something than people may think it does. Is that correct?
Yes. It takes a lot longer to film. I mean, just cook a normal dinner takes a lot longer because you have to film it. And sometimes by the time you get to your steak or whatever you're making, it's not even hot anymore. So you have to reheat it a little bit. But I always sneak in some bites while it's still very fresh. But that's why sometimes I like to just not record and enjoy the food in the moment, especially if I have like a bunch of people coming over for dinner, because that happens a lot where people want to come over for dinner. I love having people over for dinner and cooking for people, especially at my own home. So yeah, no, it's definitely a lot more work than it looks like.
Well, I'd like to know just your opinion. So Josh Allen, what kind of steak do you think he would like?
I would say he's like a farm boy. He's from the Firebaugh area, California, which is pretty south of where I lived. I would say he would go for a tomahawk ribeye as well. Just because it's a flashy, big hunk of meat, and it's almost primal when you're just holding the bone and you got the steak up top.
I would agree with you. What about Stefan Diggs?
I would say a filet mignon with maybe a lobster tail on the side.
Ooh.
A little surf and turf action. Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you on two of those. What do you think, Maddie?
I like it. I think he's right on. What would you say for Kim Pagula?
Yeah.
I would say maybe a porterhouse. Best of both worlds. You get the New York strip and the filet mignon in one.
Okay. Well, you had half of it right. I pretty much choose a filet every time.
A filet?
But, yeah. I just, it's easy. It's usually the petite filet and I'm good.
Yeah, it's tender. It's not too filling. You don't get the meat sweats after eating a filet.
Yeah.
I hate talking about people's failures, but I think it's interesting. Like with the amount of cooking that you do and probably the amount of things that you try, are there things that you try and you eat it and you're like, oh, we're not doing this again, or this was not a good thing? And what was maybe one of the most random things? Because I would guess that you have to get pretty unique with your flavors as how much you're cooking. I looked on your TikTok the other day and you had something where you're cooking pork in a pumpkin and using like pumpkin butter and pumpkin spice. So that's pretty out of this world. It looked so good. And I'm sure it tasted so good, but what are some things that maybe have been misses?
Yeah, the pumpkin smoked pulled pork was unbelievable. First off, start by saying that. But yes, there is a lot of times where I like to experiment a lot and try some crazy recipes, such as that pumpkin pork. But there's a lot of times where I can tell that it's just not going to be that great once I'm done. Like I have a dry aging fridge at my house where I like to try different dry age experiments, basically. And I've done Nutella coated steak in the dry ager, leave it there for like 30, 45 days. Peanut butter. Right now I got a buffalo blue cheese one.
Whoa.
Okay. I'm going to try that out. Got some crumbly blue all over it and then soaked it in buffalo sauce, like wrapped in cheesecloth. And I just put it in the dryer last night. But yes, so failures. I tried deep frying a steak just to see how it would turn out. And I actually posted this failure a while back because I was like, all right, I can't only show my successes to people because then it's like the rest of social media where it kind of can be misleading and at times. So I was like, all right, we need to post some fails sometimes. So I deep fried a steak and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I took it out of the fridge. I must not have let it come to room temp as much as I thought, and must have had the oil too hot. But it was literally like a gradient of gray, well done on the outside, all the way into raw on the middle. It was a fillet. And it was just the grossest looking steak when I cut it open. Had to try it for the video, but yeah, I've definitely had some failures. There's no doubt about that.
Do you cook something else besides steak? You know, how's your side dishes, your desserts? You cook chicken?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I cook all things meat, like steak, pork, seafood. I do a lot of barbecue, chicken as well. And then I make side dishes. I'll make pasta. I got a really cool mac and cheese video coming. I do a lot of surf and turf mac and cheeses as well. But so a lot of sandwiches. But no, yeah, not only steak. I would say steak accounts for about a third of my videos. So the other 2/3 are like sandwiches or side dishes or other proteins. I try to do some like cool seafood videos a lot too, just to like showcase, like get a larger audience of people, because not everyone loves steak. So a lot of people love just salmon. So I'll do try to incorporate a good amount of salmon videos in there as well. Because I just trying to grow the audience and make more happy than just the steak people, you know?
How do you come up with new ideas and new recipes? Because I mean, every week I'm the person who goes to like the same 20 things that I know how to make, and like will rarely mix it up. Maybe like when I have like a shot of inspiration, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this tonight and actually like do something different, which usually requires more time, which I'm lazy after work. So
Yeah,
how do you get that inspiration? Where do you go to look for new things? Because you're cooking so many different things, and you're talking about Nutella rubbed steak and like peanut butter rubbed steak. Like, teach us your ways.
Yeah. So I'll do, for example, with the dry aging experiments, you start off with one thing, and then you're like, oh, what if I did it in this? What if I did it in this? What if I did it in blue cheese and buffalo sauce, for example, the recent one. Then I also did a bourbon and maple syrup one I put in last night as well. So maple bourbon dry aged steak, which I think I'm excited about that as well. But yeah, I think once you get one idea, you can do a lot of spin-offs of the same thing, like a salmon pinwheel, like where you take a whole fillet of salmon and fill it with like a cream cheese, chive, kind of like green interior. And you can just do all types of combos with that. And I definitely get a lot of inspiration from other videos I see in the internet, as well as just strolling through the supermarket and looking around and thinking, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? You know?
So what's next for you? You talked about, having some merchandise that you're going to be selling. I mean, I don't know where you live. Do you raise your own cattle? Do you, you never know. You can have a cookbook coming out. I know you just said you still have to have your day job here for another few days, but just aspirationally as you go forward in this new venture, where would you like to see your path end up being?
So I don't know. I don't think I would raise cattle. I think that there's a lot of work as well. I wouldn't even have time to film videos, but I do see a lot of potential in going toward is my new knife cutting board and cutlery company. See a lot of potential in that, which launches pretty soon. My merchandise company has been doing very well in the past month. I think it was like a month ago we launched. And then I would also, I don't know, I think maybe someday I could open a restaurant, Cuso Steakhouse, Cuso Barbecue. I'm not sure, but that's another tough business to get into. But I think e-commerce, there's a lot of money to be made in e-commerce. So I think just selling things online, just making a brand out of my brand is what I would ideally like to do. I also have Cuso's, like my barbecue rubs coming out.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So basically just selling products as well as not just making videos. I don't want to just only be making videos. I want to have different streams of what I'm doing.
So you can bring Jack home with you with his dry rubs, and it tastes just like what Jack's cooking at home without any other work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can follow the directions in a video and boom.
There you go. That's what you need, Maddie.
I know, right? It seems like you've really taken advantage of this at the right time, like in the age of TikTok and excuse me, when we all went into lockdown and in COVID, I mean, everybody was on TikTok and doing different things. And I don't know why I have a tickle in my throat, but it's so cool to see how you've been able to really make a name for yourself in that avenue and on social media. But Kim is a pretty good baker when it comes to cookies. So how's your cookie game?
Oh, I am a cookie rookie, you could say.
Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Good pair.
Yeah. I don't think I've made too many cookies, so I think Kim definitely has got me beat on that.
All right. Okay. So we got to figure out, it's kind of like a wine pairing, but we'll have to do a steak and cookie pairing at some point and see which dessert works best with certain cuts of meat.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
So as you've been growing up, like you said, following the Bills, and now that you're back in town and you can come to every game and every tailgate, where our team is right now, how are you incorporating your fandom for the Buffalo Bills into what you're doing now? Obviously, you're wearing Bills Mafia gear on our podcast right now, but how do you bring the fandom and your love for Western New York and the football team to what you do on a regular basis and to your listeners, your viewers out there on TikTok?
So I don't know if I wear Bills gear and
all the time.
Out of my videos, yeah, a lot of. I either wear Bills gear or my own merch, and that's pretty much it in my videos. But I would say I'm trying out new recipes such as that buffalo blue cheese stuff. I have an aged steak. I got in the dry age right now. Try to do some local favorite recipes for sure. But yeah, I just think incorporating the Buffalo, upstate New York in general, community and recipes, because there's a lot of good food in this area. From Fairport as well. I want to do a garbage plate video. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I know that Josh Allen has an ice cream named after him. So maybe, somewhere down the road, you can have some kind of a meal or a dish named after, maybe not Josh, maybe it's another one of your favorite players. Maybe it's our head coach, but just giving you some inspirational ideas back there.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
I like that too. I think a good way to maybe end off this podcast or finish up is, you blew up over the course of like a year. I know you said you really started when COVID hit. So you've grown a big following in a short amount of time. What's your advice to people who are maybe scared to follow their dreams, like you so bravely did, and are now, moving on to making this your full-time job? And then what's your advice to people who are also scared to take some risks in the kitchen?
Oh, well, in the kitchen, I think you just got to go for it. I mean, you'll never know if you don't try. And that's what I tell people who ask me all the time about, as far as like social media advice, or like they want to start a brand, or they want to get their music out there, or like whatever, if they do arts or they have a different hobby. I'd say once you start, I would say just put yourself out there, because if you don't ever try, you're never going to find out. So just like what I did, I started just posting consistently. And if times like you don't see any growth, maybe start changing it up and change the structure of what you're doing. But yeah, I just think as long as you're persistent and you take note of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and you actually just go for it, I think you can make whatever you want happen.
Well,
So
you
cool.
represent Bills Mafia so well, Jack, on social
Thank you.
media and now live in person at our game. So looking forward. I know where the tailgate is, so stop by.
Yeah, I'll see you guys Sunday for sure.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Jack, thank you so much for coming on with us and spilling so much knowledge when it comes to cooking and things on social media. TikTok, the official Grillmaster of the Buffalo Bills. Love that tag name that you got now. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me Jack Mancuso on YouTube, and then Chef Cuso on Instagram and TikTok.
I love it. Go ahead and give him a follow. It's definitely worth it, and some really cool content. Jack, thank you so much.
Thank you,
We'll
Jack.
see you this season.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you guys this weekend, and you'll definitely be trying some of my food now that I live here.
All right.
Woo-hoo.
Great. Thanks, Jack.
So, Kim, we know we're coming off of this bye. We've got a game against the Miami Dolphins, which we talked about a little bit in the intro, but I kind of want to look even past this game, which I know is not the best thing to do, but kind of look bigger picture down the road at the rest of the season that we have. So we've got a pretty early bye week, which Leslie Frazier, when he talked to media this week, he was asked, do you like an early bye week? Do you like a late bye week? And he said, at this point in my career, I've had bye weeks all across the spectrum of week 6 to week 14. You appreciate it when it comes, because when it comes, you're usually ready for a break by then. But last year's bye week came at the perfect time because the team suffered a pretty tough loss to the Arizona Cardinals, that Hail Mary loss that we still see in commercials now today, which I absolutely hate. But after that, they went on a tear and they won 6 straight games. So we've played 6 games and we've got 11 games left, and hopefully more than that in terms of playoffs and a run at the Super Bowl. But how do you think this team could fare coming out of this bye week, looking towards the rest of the season? Sean McDermott is 4-0 after the bye week.
Well, that's some good stats there to fall back on. I am a little disappointed, despite the fact that I used the bye week to marry off my daughter. It does come a little bit early for me. We didn't have a lot of injuries at this time, so usually sometimes the bye week it's helpful to get guys back into the lineup. And we've got an extra game this year, which we haven't had in the past. So it's going to be a long stretch of games for us. And then, like you said, if we go into the postseason, it'll be a lot of wear and tear on our guys. So but I think that this has been a resilient bunch. I think, everyone on that team knows what's at stake, and they embrace it too. The expectations that are on them, I know we talked about this earlier, kind of worried about that coming into the season. Is something new for a lot of our guys, with all the attention that we had before the season even started from last season. But they've really embraced it, and this is where they want to be. They want to have those expectations and meet them. So again, going to put my faith in Coach McDermott and the rest of the staff and our players, that they will find a way to get it done.
Yeah, it's a good place and good people to put your faith in, I would say, because this group is a special group. from an owner's perspective, I know, we're in week 8 and it's kind of, in the grind it out part of the season. We're in the middle of the season, getting through week to week. For an owner, does the middle of the season change at all for you guys? Or as you start going into the end of the season, are there things that you're already starting to look forward to? Or would you say it's similar to the team in that, this is really the meat part of the season where we're in the middle of it and there's a lot going on?
Yeah, this is kind of, as you call it, the meat of the season. This is where you're going to really trudge through that if you can get over this hump over the next few weeks. I think, everyone talks about, you build the team, to be in the off season. You want to peak at the right time. And so managing that, this is that important time. And, but you kind of start, for me, you start looking down the road because you've got games under your belt, especially those are, teams that are in our division, like Miami that we're playing this week. You already played them once. You start looking at what other people's, other teams, their wins, their losses, who they play. And so you start, slowly trying to, wishful thinking, planning ahead. And you have more information under your belt to see how maybe that path for you lies. So I think it's a little bit more of looking at what the rest of the league is doing. Again, we've seen some big upsets of teams with high expectations that have had some losses. And we've seen other teams, really come out of the gate and stayed up there. So it's still very much up in the air. Can't take anything for granted, as we all know in the NFL. But this is really, we got to, get through these next, I'm going to say probably next 5-6 weeks. And then you can kind of, I don't know, kind of see where that path is. And hopefully it's an easy path near the end of the year.
Yeah, the Bills are one of those teams that has that early bye. And so you come off of the early bye and you kind of look ahead and it's like, dang, we got a big chunk of the season left here. So we've got to stay healthy and maybe use some of the different games as pseudo buys. I know we play on Thanksgiving, so who knows, the guys may have a couple days off after that Thanksgiving game, but definitely in the middle of it, in the thick of it, and looking forward to what's ahead for these guys. And it's nice to know that after the bye week, they still rank so high in so many different statistical categories, from offense to defense. So good to see them kind of hang onto the lead in a lot of different ways. So,
and I've always been impressed when we have had a loss. Our guys have bounced back. They've taken those losses, whether it was the first game of the year against the Steelers, or I don't even remember what we played, Tennessee game.
Yeah, right.
It's so far away. But taking that loss, and like you talked about last year with Arizona. So this team has found ways to use losses, to learn from them, to fuel them for future games. So that's what I'm expecting from them for this game.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it all unfolds on Sunday at 1:00, a Halloween game against the Dolphins. And then a lot more to come from this team, a lot more to come from us. So make sure you guys stay tuned for next week's episode of Bills Pod Squad. Thanks for being a listener for the whole season or being a new listener. We definitely appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.